R&D పోతావా? R&D colony. Okay, that was to give you a glimpse of the subject of our talk and our experiment in Hyderabad. Hyderabad is in the southern part of India, and we started a basic income pilot with waste collectors. We have about, in 5 different slums, we have about 350 families to whom we give a basic income for 18 months. These are the basic features of the project. Now, the reason I gave a glimpse of the waste collector is waste collector, this is how I think they come to each house. Each one has a certain area allotted to them. And then government treats them, or the city corporation treats them as self-employed. They're not employed by, so they have to do this and then put it in the dump yard where the government shows where the dump yard is. And then they have to collect money from the houses, okay? That is their income. So we are working with 350 families, about 1,500 individuals, waste collectors, children and everybody included. They live in 5 different settlements in Hyderabad city. It's an 18-month project. Each month they get 1,000 rupees, which is $12 per month, and children below that, below 18, they get half of it. So the mothers will get on behalf of children. The cash directly goes into the bank accounts. We opened bank accounts to those people who didn't have bank accounts. And then we are doing a statistical and a qualitative evaluation. We have done a baseline, and then we are doing a midline after 9 months, end line after 18 months, and a post-end line after 24 months of the project. The partners of this project are University of Bath, UK, India Network for Basic Income, Institute for What Works for Women, and it's called iWage, and Montfort Social Institute, and Open Democracy. These are the 5 partners we have. It's funded by European Research Council between 2020 and 2024. Yeah, so does it fit, to answer Malcolm's question in the morning, does it fit into the definition of the basic income by BN's definition? It is cash, yes, cash. It goes into their bank accounts, and it's universal. The way we have defined universal is that we wanted to work with the waste collectors, but then we go to a slum where waste collectors live, so we draw a boundary of that particular slum, and then give everybody, whether they are doing waste collection or not. It's possible that 60% of them do waste collection, but then 40% do other things, but it doesn't matter. So that's how we have drawn the universal part of it. It's monthly. Every month they get, on the first of the month, they get money. And then it's individual. Every man, woman, and child gets. When the newborn arrives, he's automatically registered, and then he gets the money. And if a new bride comes into the house from outside, she also gets immediately registered. So those are the additions we have. And it's absolutely unconditional. So that's the model. Why did we choose waste collectors? In fact, we chose waste collectors, as you may have seen. These are the lowliest jobs in our society, and mostly people from what were considered traditionally untouchables. Those are the people coming from rural areas and doing this work in the city. And our hypothesis is that what transformation in their lives will take place when you give them an unconditional basic income? That is the question we are asking. What happens? How will they organize themselves in terms of their dignity, self-respect, and well-being? We are not even expecting them to quit this occupation and go somewhere else, but we want to see what kind of modifications they will bring in their lives, or their children's lives, or in their healthcare, so on and so forth. So given freedom to make their own decisions, that's the bottom up, how do they self-organize themselves? I think we are entirely banking on their self-organizing. We are not suggesting anything to them. It's not our job. So is emancipation from modern slavery possible through self-organization is what we are looking at, because it's up to people what they want to do with the additional money. Now, why 18 months? Normal life cycle of recurring household expenses is usually 12-month period, and festivals and everything, all these things come within a span of 1 year. In previous pilots, they have shown that people go through a learning curve, which means the point there is what we don't know, we don't know. We can't make assumptions about they will drink it away, they will waste the money, they will use it for consumption purposes and not for any investments. So these are the kinds of objections people normally have about giving anything unconditionally to people. That's why they put conditions, that's why they target, blah, 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 which Hilda has shown so well that they don't work. So what we underestimate is the learning curve. So there is a learning curve, and usually we expect that initially there is a euphoria. The first 3 months will be euphoria. You are suddenly getting, like Billy was saying, that a regular income which you are not used to, and sense of security. It psychologically, it does a lot to your mind, okay? So we just give that cushion for the 3 months, and then the 12-month period is a period when they actually start planning. I mean, I was a co-director of a project in Madhya Pradesh. That was the first basic income pilot project in India. So there we have seen how after 2-3 months they start planning, which we don't expect them to. So I think the sense of security that, okay, next 12 months or next 18 months, I am going to have this. So I think your mind starts operating in a very completely different way. So this 12 months, and then 3 months is to taper off because they have to come to terms with the fact that it's going to be over. Okay? So that's the logic of why 18 months. Why $12? I mean, the Indian poverty line is, the less I say about that, the better. So we didn't take that into account. It is completely out of date. It doesn't say anything about the poverty. So we have taken the World Bank poverty line of $1.9. Below that, anybody spending below that, living below that, is considered to be poor. So it's $57 a month, which means that 4,500 rupees a month. So an average family income of these people is roughly about $120 of the household. So average family size is about 5 to 6 people in each house. So there could be, like, in a typical family, 3 adults, a grandmother and a couple and their 2 children. So total basic income they would receive would be 4,000 rupees. It's individual, it's not to the household. So which comes to about 40% of their income. Imagine yourself, you get 40% on top of your existing income. It's quite significant by any standard. So we expect that 40% top up is going to make a big, significant impact on the household economy. Okay, I think this is really the heart of the matter, that what kind of ethical protocols we follow in this project. Because I will come to the ethical legal part later, but the first principle in any trial is do no harm. You may or may not do good, but at least don't do harm to people, which is what Hilda started her speech with. Don't fuck around with the poor. Don't do that. If you're not following an ethical protocol, don't go there. Okay? So do no harm. Then the consent, we took consent from each adult participant for participation in 2 things. One is to participate in the program cash transfer, to receive cash transfer, and the second is to participate in our research. Okay, we have ethics committees at all levels. In University of Bath, we have ethics committee, ethics board in India, and each of these organizations have their own ethics committees. So we do periodic review and we take approvals from them. All data is to be anonymized. and shared with the team members, and no personal data will go outside India, outside. So we have certain protocols how we do that. I think University of Bath has developed ways of doing it. And the exit process, which is the most painful of in any trial, is well laid out, and what we want to do, how to go about. And actually, there will not be an exit because we have the local partner who has been working with them, with these waste collectors last 10 years on their housing rights. So they will continue to do work. Now, the question of the ethical, why the ethical protocol is extremely important is it may be something, maybe legal behavior, but it may not be ethical. I'll give you examples, one or two examples of in our capitalist society, that when you normalize evil, it becomes invisible. I'll give an example of what happens in advertising. All of you know. Advertising is a person is giving you a witness that this I have used and this is good. Okay? So there is endorsement by so many celebrities. Okay? But in reality, they may not be actually using it. They may not go anywhere close to that. So in Roman Empire, the punishment for false witness was beheading. Okay? How come we accept it as normal? How come we accept that somebody is saying that I'm using this soap and we actually believe that he's actually using that soap? He's not using that soap. Okay? So but then it is normalized. It's legal. So evil becomes invisible. So I think there it's very important for us to ask more and more questions. Okay, we had an ethical dilemma. I'll give you an example. Now, from this slum, the government decided, there are 120 families. The government decided to evacuate half of them, 60 families, and relocate them in a new housing, which government has constructed these buildings. From one day to another, they were asked to leave the place because the government wanted to do something. The city government wanted to do something. Now, these 60 people, 60 families, went and occupied these houses. There are 300 flats. Now, 60 people went there. We were about to begin the cash transfers. And then another 60 families came and settled as their neighbors. And then another 60. So all the 300 flats were from different slums, and they have nothing to do with waste collection. Now what do? We just look after our people and say that we have nothing to do with you. No, it's universal. So the fact that these people went and stayed there, we have to now think of the other people. So we paused. We said that let's pause for some time for these people and raise money. So we are still in the process of raising money for the rest. So that is the ethical dilemma in the sense that can we just proceed giving to our people and exclude the other people? No, you cannot do that. I have 7 questions for technologists. Not that I'm sitting on top and asking those questions. I think all of us have to ask these questions, okay? This is not moral policing. I think these are the 7 questions important to ask because who do you work for? I said the invisibility of evil. Who do you work for? I think we have to answer that question. What do you work for? Why do you do what you do? Who is the end user of your work? What is your app seeking from the end user? What does she do with it? What is it doing to her? Have you thought of the risks in using your app? Is your app making this world a better place? Thank you.